Hello and welcome to this new video. I'm Lorenzi and I give you a warm welcome. Thank you if you've come back here to the channel, if you've subscribed. If you haven't done it yet, I recommend you take a second to subscribe. It takes very little time, but it's very important to me. This channel is growing a lot, and it's also thanks to you if you've already subscribed, if you watch these contents, and if you will subscribe. Today's super succulent video, because we're talking about Facebook ads specifically, we're in the world of vertical meta ads on Facebook, we're talking about lead generation, and we go even deeper because today we're talking about contact forms. I had recorded a video a long time ago on this channel, quite old but still very valid, so the information you find inside it, if you have watched it recently, or maybe I would go and watch it right after this new video, I want to reassure you that they are still valid. I use them myself, however, as I like to do here on this channel. I like to share new tests, new strategies. I am currently conducting new experiments and documenting them in a video to provide updates on Facebook ads for lead generation using contact forms. In addition to that, I also plan to bring tutorials to the channel which will involve screen sharing or a hybrid approach of me talking and demonstrating on the screen. If you are interested in this kind of content, please let me know by leaving a comment or leaving a like. Your feedback is valuable and will help me tailor the content to your preferences. Thank you for your support. Now let's get right into it. Let's talk about the lead generation. So acquiring contacts online, and the information I'm about to give you is all from my own experience. These are tested strategies that I have tried myself and have tried in multiple businesses. So be careful. I don't just focus on local activities, but I'm talking to you in a broad spectrum. So for everything that is the context of regeneration, from local activities, free consultants, entrepreneurs, business information, these techniques, these strategies, these tips can be absolutely very, very useful to you. First, I want to tell you that we always have to reason in the context we find ourselves in. Nowadays, people have no patience, they are in a hurry, they use their mobile phones a lot, and these three aspects are crucial. Why? Why contact forms increasingly exploit these aspects, especially Meta has made a great update to make these contact forms more and more performant and also more profiling. We will delve into it shortly. Why do they work so well? Why most of the information, or rather if we use them in their basic form, all the information reported, when I talk about basic form, I'm talking about maybe asking for the phone number, asking for emails, asking for the name, are information that Facebook already has, because when you signed up to create your account to mess around on Facebook like everyone else at the beginning, you have already entered and already provided this information to Facebook. So when the user, in front of an advertising campaign where a contact form is displayed, clicks and finds these questions, they are already pre-filled for the most part. So you comprehend thoroughly that we eradicate laziness, we eradicate speed, or rather sluggishness in having to locate specific information, and we go extremely fast. I am highly responsive even on mobile, that now I urge you to contemplate extensively on the mobile side, because individuals genuinely think they practically solely utilize mobile phones and the computer is progressively becoming a work environment. For example, I use the computer a lot for work, but then maybe when we're goofing off, etc., we use the cell phone, so we're used to thinking more and more about what I have to do, everything that is designed for a user who uses the cell phone, okay? So what is the scenario with lead forms? So contact forms is precisely this person who provides their data, and if on one hand we have all these pros, on the other hand we must also consider some important cons, because to request basic information, as until a while ago was the only way, so to request maybe essential information that Facebook already had in its own database, it is true that it reduces laziness, pushes speed, makes things super smooth, but on the other hand, it could also bring you a very dirty audience, precisely because the information it provides may not be sufficient to make a proper profiling. There may be situations where you may need to do a quantity job. Some clients that I follow are really focused on this, so having very simple contact forms that can guarantee a large influx, a large number of incoming contacts. But then obviously there is a whole part of salespeople who necessarily have to screen this information in order to actually have, let me give you an example, out of 100 contacts, 20 good ones, okay? Considering the dirt, considering the no-shows, who will really think about closing maybe 20%, 10%, 5%? So it is very important to always start from the strategy. And on this, I want to reassure you, because here on the channel, you really find a lot of information about it. Now, if we have to talk about lead generation with contact forms, I want to share with you what is currently working. that I have successfully tested, and I think that a very important video can come out of it. So I repeat, if you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. The premise I made was very necessary to frame the scenario, especially now that things have changed a bit. Nowadays, with lead forms, we actually have the possibility to request more information from the user. We can, for instance, employ short answer queries, so effectively we pose the question to the user and the user must actually write down. Can we work with multiple choice options, so we ask the question and the user has to make a choice and so on, okay? I mentioned these two because they are currently giving me the best results. Let's start with the first one. Asking open-ended questions allows you to profile the person a lot. It's true, I know what you're thinking, namely Ale, but this doesn't reduce the speed, the quickness, etc., etc. Shortly, I'll give you another important tip. Inserting an open question allows the person, first of all, to describe perhaps a situation. So if your contact form embraces niches where it also needs to acquire maybe a brief summary of a personal situation, it could be very interesting to ask an open question precisely to let the person describe what could be the episode that happened, as well as maybe their feedback, as well as a previous experience, etc., etc., etc. The open question must therefore be regarded as a compilation of significant information. Secondly, the question with multiple choices. Here, it's a bit of a hybrid between pre-selection and open-ended question. Here the person goes a little faster because they actually have to stop and think when they have the phone in their hand to choose the right answer, but they actually don't have to do anything at all. Both of these are valid elements that effectively address the problem of dirt, isn't that right? Now, you know that a contact form by itself does nothing in a strategy, right? Clearly, as if we were to look at each individual step, if I only look at the sales calls, yes, they can do it, as well as the contact form, but I have to look at the macro together. So everything that is the marketing flow that can lead a lead to become a customer, okay? Always imagine that after a contact form, there must be a person who calls this user to profile him, and maybe you can bring him to a Zoom call, right? Why in a Zoom call or in a video call? Zoom calls are used a lot. For example, I use Google Meet, but it could also be a video call on WhatsApp, okay? Why? Because being visible enables you to instantly establish a connection, to promptly build trust with the person on the opposite side and truly, genuinely retain them for the long term. So this is an absolutely crucial aspect, so always remember to look at the strategy as a whole. It is clear that if we have to profile these questions as much as possible, we must also take into consideration other key aspects. Okay, I am an expert at inserting open-ended questions. I am an expert at inserting multiple choice questions on the condition that first and foremost, the questions we ask are not excessively reflective. Why? Because, as I always say in my videos, we are dealing with a lazy user anyway. So asking questions that might stop him in front of the phone for hours and hours now, obviously I'm exaggerating, okay? But having a question that might make you think for 5-10 minutes, you understand that, especially from the phone in 5-10 minutes, anything can happen. You can get a call, so he closes the forum, an extremely important message can arrive and he wants to reply. He can simply get bored and give up. The courier can also ring who brings him an Amazon package and goodbye your form and the person you lost. So both profiling questions are absolutely pro, and especially from the feedback I can bring you from experiments done in these months, they work very well as long as they are quick questions. This does not mean that it is a yes or no question. For those you can use multiple choice questions that work very well. For example, I tested them with Sino. How long have you been experiencing this problem? When did this problem occur? Okay? You understand that there you can respond calmly by choosing. The question, on the other hand, written, so the open-ended one, that it is a profiling question, but that does not excessively keep the person in front of the question, because then the risk is that we will lose that person and therefore we will lose that potential customer. The second thing, from my point of view, very important in lead generation with contact forms, especially in using this information, therefore these possibilities that Meta nowadays offers us, therefore open questions, multiple questions together, attention to basic questions. Therefore what I am testing now, which works very well, is to cross open answer questions with multiple answer questions. And obviously then I always ask for essential information, name, surname, phone number, so that remains. It is the fact of asking questions that allow the user to obviously explain what the problem is or why they might want to know more, but at the same time they are profiling questions for you. Often people come to our agency for consultancy who may have used contact forms. They have also experimented with these questions, especially those that may be multiple choice questions, but they have asked questions that, yes, are interesting maybe for the prospect, that is for your potential customer, but then you have the salesperson who will actually have to go and make the Zoom call. the triage call to call them, etc., etc. They are absolutely useless. And then you understand that in this case, you went to make an effort to request an effort to your potential customer who, however, on the other hand, as if it were a balance, from this information, we do not derive anything. Instead, we always have to reason in a very intelligent way. Remember that we are doing a marketing strategy, so it is welcome to ask questions that can be useful to that salesperson. You understand well that if I derive strengths from this information for the call I will make, because maybe from the questions I understand how long that discomfort has been going on, as well as a past experience, well then the information that the salesperson will have in hand will be really important. Okay, it will actually be an ace up our sleeve. So both these open questions, these possibilities that today's meta gives us, let's not exaggerate, let's not put too many, because otherwise the risk is that the person gets tired and abandons the ship, we lose it, but at the same time we also insert information that can be useful for the salesperson who will then make the call. Last tips I want to give you is related to the generation with modules, but I remind you that attention, I also want to bring some books from screen sharing my speeches, etc., etc. So let me know with a comment and with a like to this video. Well, nowadays, Meta gives the possibility to complete the form by also sending attachments, okay? And here you can range a lot. I want to give you this really golden tips. So this golden pill of a strategy that I tested, where actually once the person had filled out the form, answered the qualifying questions, so to speak, the open one and the multiple choice answer, then also here plays head-eye modules where they are only, for example, multiple choice answers and the essentials, so there is no open one. Okay, you also have to analyze your buyer persona, and here on the channel you find a lot of content about this so you can deepen all the themes. Once they have finished filling out this form, proceed to generate a PDF that can reduce the incubation period, making it possible, for instance, to provide a PDF containing information about your brand, your case studies, your reviews, and this you can set directly from the form. You understand well that it becomes very important because in this way the person leaves the information, gets in touch with you, immediately has content to chew on, to read on, which to orient themselves, to better know maybe about you, your business, your successful cases, and then they will be called and maybe brought in a call. Here we comprehend well that in this instance we abbreviate the incubation timing. Another subject I discussed extensively on the channel, where you also visit to observe how much time it requires for your contact to transform into your customer. We must always keep in mind, as I mentioned in a video some time ago, that the user is always even more distracted, so the incubation time can be extended a lot, so welcome everything that can shorten it. And nowadays, contact forms allow us to do this as well. Now, contact forms replace landing pages. Maybe discuss in video, have points to share, result of tests. We'll talk in dedicated video for more details. However, I believe that even so, this video has given you some food for thought. I repeat, you can use them for local activities, business info, consultants, entrepreneurs, and have fun without fear of testing. Okay, so also create matchbooks. Maybe you make modules only with open-ended questions, put 2 and work with the essential ones. Maybe put 3 multiple choice answers and the essential ones. Play, and I recommend you follow what I told you in this video because you could get very interesting results. From Lorenzi everything, and we'll see each other in the next video. Hello!